So we're constantly talking about how food can impact our physical health, but we don't really focus on how much it can impact our mood. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about food that impacts your mood. So I find this topic so interesting and fascinating, and everything I'm going to talk about in today's video is backed by science and research, and there's just so much to explain how food can impact how we're feeling, feelings of depression, feelings of happiness. And there's a reason they call our gut our second brain, and there's so much between the gut-brain relationship. So I want to get into how this really works. I want to break this video up into a few categories of how food can impact your mood and just kind of where this originates from. So first, let's talk about blood sugar levels. Blood sugar levels, if they're too high or too low, can absolutely impact your mood, impact your energy, cause irritability. I'm sure a lot of people watching this have experienced that at some point when your blood sugar is too high or low. So that's one thing we'll talk about, how different foods can impact your blood sugar levels. Next, let's talk about neurotransmitters. So neurotransmitters are basically chemicals that send signals from your brain to your body whenever you want to do anything. So as you can imagine, like if you want to exercise, if there's signaled even when you have certain mood changes, like any kind of function in your body, and neurotransmitters are absolutely impacted by the food you eat. So you can imagine that this can literally impact every function of your body. Three of the main neurotransmitters that can really take a role here are serotonin, which is involved in your feelings of happiness and can also regulate your appetite. And then there's dopamine, which basically regulates your motivation and how motivated you feel. And then there's melatonin, which regulates your sleep-wake cycle. So foods that can impact any of these neurotransmitters can impact anything we just talked about. Another thing that impacts your mood is how much food you eat in one setting. So if you eat portions that are way too large, your body basically takes all of its energy and tries to help you digest that food. So you're gonna have a big increase in blood flow to your gut. And because there's an increase in blood flow to your gut to help you digest, there's less blood flow that's going to your brain, which means you can have lower levels of alertness, lower levels of energy. You can kind of feel brain fog, which also probably explains why when you eat really, really big meals, you get a little bit tired. There's also vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So certain vitamins and minerals that you might be deficient in have really been linked to changes in mood. So a few examples here that I find really interesting. Low levels of zinc have been associated with eating disorders, and low levels of certain B vitamins have been associated with symptoms of schizophrenia, and low levels of omegas are associated with feelings of depression. So the omegas one I've actually mentioned in a previous video when I was talking about some natural remedies to help reduce depression or prevent depression, but that's another one I just wanted to throw in here because it is relevant for the rest of the video. And lastly, let's talk about tryptophan. So tryptophan is an amino acid, and amino acids are what make up proteins, just to give you a little background there. But tryptophan is actually used as a precursor, which means it's required to make serotonin and melatonin, which we just discussed earlier, and how these can impact your mood. They can in fact impact your sleep-wake cycle. And it's also used to make niacin, which is vitamin B3, and this can also really impact your energy metabolism. So if you have low levels of tryptophan, you can imagine you could have, just like we said, changes in mood, low energy, and impacting your sleep. So first, let's get into food that increases your mood. And since we just kind of got into tryptophan, this is a big area of focus here. And there's certain foods that are really high in tryptophan, and this is going to be a lot of your nuts and seeds. So cashews, walnuts, almonds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds. So eating foods that are high in these not only have omegas that can help reduce depression, but also tryptophan, which can help boost your levels of serotonin and melatonin. So one really interesting study that I would love to mention is the one where they took a group of people and put them on a really nut-enriched diet. And after 12 weeks, they were testing their urine and saw that there were actually higher levels of serotonin, which kind of just goes to show you the tryptophan in the nuts and seeds can help you produce more of your own serotonin. So I think seeing how your body can really do its natural state when you actually supplement it the right way versus always going the medication route, I just find really fascinating. So let's go through some nuts and seeds that are high in tryptophan or also can boost mood. And I'm gonna pop these up in a title card so that if you wanna save this and take a screenshot, you guys can save it for later. So almonds contain B vitamins, which are great for energy, and tyrosine, which is a precursor for dopamine. So you're gonna get more motivation and more energy. Cashews are packed with fiber, minerals, and vitamins, and this can help prevent depression, boost mood, and actually stabilize your thoughts. Peanuts are loaded with tryptophan, which just means more serotonin and more melatonin production, which is going to help you balance both of these out. Walnuts are one of the richest sources of omega-3 fatty acid, and this is why they're dubbed as brain food. So this can help prevent insomnia, depression, overeating, and more. Brazil nuts are one of the best sources of selenium, which can help prevent anxiety, depression, irritability, and tiredness. Flax, chia seeds, and salmon, which I know salmon is not a nut or seed, but it's so high in omegas, I wanted to include it here also. They can affect parts of the brain related to emotion, which can improve mood. Sunflower seeds are rich in selenium, magnesium, and tryptophan, which can promote relaxation, calm the brain, and relieve tension. Pumpkin seeds are loaded with tryptophan and magnesium, and just half a cup of pumpkin seeds has almost our entire daily amount of magnesium. So overall, this is going to be great for relaxation. A single serving of hemp seeds contains nearly half of the daily recommended dose of magnesium, so this is also a great one to calm you. And sesame seeds are one of the best vegan or vegetarian sources of zinc, which is a mineral that has been shown to reduce depression and anxiety. Okay, so now let's talk about a few different spices and foods that can really help boost your mood and boost happiness. So when it comes to spices, some of the really good ones are saffron, cardamom, coriander, cinnamon, and basil. Adding these to your diet in any way you want, any shape or form, whether you're sprinkling the dried form or eating it fresh, is really gonna help boost mood and reduce feelings of sadness. And another cool thing to highlight about saffron, even though it also does boost mood, is that it's really been shown to help women who suffer from PMDD or premenstrual syndrome. So some women don't experience this, and I don't know if you know what it is, but basically it's a condition in which before you get your period, you have like severe symptoms of pain, depression, sadness, and it can impact a lot of women. And saffron, there's been studies to show how it can not only reduce the feelings of depression during this time, but also pain. So that's a really, really incredible natural remedy. I mean, I'm Persian, we eat saffron in so much in our rice and all of our food, so you could just, make your own drink with it or even sprinkle it onto your food. And another spice I thought was really interesting is fennel tea, because it's known to stabilize your blood sugar levels. So kind of what I talked about earlier in the beginning of the video is how blood sugar levels can impact your mood. Having some fennel or some fennel tea can stabilize this, and it's also been shown to stabilize serotonin. So this could increase mood swings, irritability, and make you feel happier. And lastly, let's talk about chocolate, because it's everyone's favorite. So chocolate, when you eat it, can help your body release hormones that induce feelings of happiness. And another cool thing about chocolate is the antioxidants in chocolate actually go to a part of your brain that regulates memory and learning. So I thought this was really interesting, because if you're, studying for an exam in college or high school and you want a little brain food, get some dark chocolate. The darker the chocolate, the better. I'd recommend like a vegan dark chocolate and snack on a little bit of that with some walnuts, and you've got a really good brain food snack right there. So one thing I want to bring up that I also find really interesting is kind of a form of Chinese medicine, which is the yin and yang aspects of food. So yin and yang is basically our balance in our body. Yin is a little more of your calm state, and yang is when you're a little bit more, not stressed, but like that more of the aggressor or like the higher energy. And it's good to have a balance. You don't necessarily want to get rid of one. And foods can actually fall under the yin and yang category. So the yang category would be like red meat, poultry, seafood, dairy, and the yin category would be like caffeine, sugar, alcohol. So if you eat excessively in one of the categories, let's say you're eating a lot of yang food, which can include like salt or red meat or, dairy, your body might actually start to crave some of the sugar, some of the things in the yin category. And they believe that the foods that are kind of in the perfect harmony and balance are like whole grains, beans, and legumes. So it's good to kind of have a balance of both. So it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to eat all yang or all yin, but finding a good balance in between the two would be really good. Okay, so we covered the positive. I wanted to do the good one first. Now let's get into foods that can negatively impact your mood. This probably won't surprise you, but processed food, fast food, high sugar, fried foods, different things like this are really, really shown to impact your mood negatively, like linked to feelings of depression, to sadness, to like lack of motivation. And there's just numerous studies on this. So this is really something I'd recommend trying to avoid, which is why I always say, like, when you do something for your health, it should be whole body health. Like, it's not, if you eat one thing, it shouldn't be good for one part of your body and bad for the rest. And when you're eating like an unprocessed, clean, healthy diet, it's just gonna be good for your entire being. So that was just a summary and only a little info on how much food can impact your mood and how much this is all related. So I'm hoping this inspires you guys to not only eat healthier, but also play around with like different whole food ingredients. Like, you know, maybe experiment with cardamom or saffron or coriander. And like the more spices you can add to your food, the more health benefit you're gonna get and the more flavor you have. So it's kind of just a win-win there. If you guys have any questions on this topic, definitely let me know, and let me know if you like this topic. If you want me to go a little more holistic in some of my future videos, we can do that. And please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.